Advent.com. Schedule an appointment today because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Elizabeth and John bought their starter home 8 years ago, BC, as in before children. Now, with 2 elementary school-age kids, they wanted to make a move to the suburbs for a bigger home with more yard. But they didn't know if or how they could buy their next home without selling their current one. Fortunately, a friend who was a multi-time AccuNet client connected them with us, and we soon determined they could, in fact, afford to buy without selling first, which was a big relief to them and their real estate agent. Armed with an AccuNet rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval, it still took several weeks to find the right home for the next chapter in their life. But I'm happy to report that Elizabeth, John, and their boys opened their presents on Christmas morning in their new home after closing just a few days before. Whether you're buying your first home or your next home, go with the pros who have all the tools and know-how to make your home buying experience as smooth and successful as humanly possible. Get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
Built Right Furniture, Leather, and Mattress.
You gotta get to Built Right today.
Tonight, the Bucks dethrone some has-been kings.
Oh, here's Giannis taking the feed from Dame and lays it in as he glides into the cup.
The Bucks in Sacramento battle it out. Our coverage starts tonight at 6 with Bucks Shoot-Around on your home for the Bucks. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
At 1 o'clock, it's 11 degrees in Milwaukee, on our way up to 17, wind chill anywhere from 5 to 15 below. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Greg Matzik. Bitter cold impacting southeastern Wisconsin. Storm Team 4 Chief Meteorologist Brian Niznansky says possibly the coldest air of the season is yet to come.
Next week has some signs that we're dealing with, some pretty extreme cold stuff, like, possibly school canceling type cold. We're being kind with actual temperatures below zero and like highs in the single digits. I could easily see this being days where we struggle to get above zero. And wind chills could be in that minus 30 to minus 40, territory.
Your complete WTMJ 5-day forecast is coming up. A Canadian firefighting aircraft is back and available for Southern California after an incident last week while battling the Palisades fire. ABC's Alex Stone is in Los Angeles.
After it hit an illegally flown hobby drone last week, the so-called Super Scooper is back in the air today. It had damage to a wing after hitting that drone. Now with a patch on the wing that had to be flown in from Quebec and approval from the FAA, the Super Scooper is back up and ready to battle wildfires. It's a huge asset in the fight against the flames. The FBI is trying to track down whomever was flying that drone.
Santa Ana winds are again blowing in Southern California as firefighters continue battling those deadly fires. The LA Medical Examiner reports 24 people are confirmed dead. No decision today. Speaking exclusively with WTMJ, Governor Tony Evers says he won't make a decision on whether to run for a third term in office until later this summer.
I'll decide after the budget. I'm weighing that as we go forward, but until the budget is done and that work is done probably in early summer, I would say that's the time that I will be making that announcement.
Democratic sources indicate Evers is giving serious thought to a third term, a feat just one other governor, Tommy Thompson, has achieved. The State Assembly will consider a proposal to add the state's voter ID law to the state constitution today. The law requires voters to show ID before casting a ballot. Republicans want to add the measure to the Constitution in order to prevent Democrats from changing the law in the future. If the proposed amendment passes the Assembly as expected, it will go before voters in the April election. Even if voters reject the proposal, voter ID would remain state law. And happening today, the Archdiocese of Milwaukee installs a new archbishop for the first time since 2010. Jeffrey Grob will replace outgoing Archbishop Jerome Listecki today at the Cathedral of St. John. Marquette University Law canon lawyer Rebecca Resch.
The cross that will be carried in the procession is from 1875, and that was carried by the first Archbishop of Milwaukee, Archbishop Henney. And the crozier that's being used, which is the shepherd's staff, is from 1891, which belonged to Archbishop Xavier.
The ceremony is invite only and begins at 1:30 this afternoon. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Bit of a rebound here for the indices, with the Dow up nearly 200 points at 42,490. S&P 500 is up about 20 points today at 5852, and the Nasdaq up about 40 at 19,126. For sound financial advice from a fee-only fiduciary, it's Annex Wealth Management. Go to annexwealth.com and click on the Get Started button today. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 1:04.
We know what you're thinking, and all we can tell you is to drive careful.
Yep, Wisconsin roads are no joke this time of year, especially when you're driving on old, worn-out tires.
Schedule yourself a tire appointment with Rich Lawns. We carry all sorts of tire brands, including Goodyear, Kelly, Continental, and General, to name a few.
And every tire we install automatically comes with free tire mounting, free lifetime tire rotation, free flat tire repairs, and free alignment inspections.
Not to mention free wheel corrosion cleaning, lifetime warranty spin balance, and prorated tire protection.
Let's just say, if you're driving around town, especially this time of year on old, worn-out tires, you're due for tire service.
Courtney's right. And remember, be safe, buckle up, and hey, always make sure you have good tread on your tires, because cold, wet, icy roads are no joke. I'm Brett Matchke with Rich Lawns, and you're due for service.
Rich Lawns Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Rich Lawns.
Our favorite reason to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler? Free service for life with no fine print. That's right. When you buy your engagement ring or any piece of jewelry at Diamonds Direct, you will never have to pay a dime in the future for sizing, cleaning, or routine maintenance. At Diamonds Direct, there's no gotcha clause, no fine print, no looking for ways to void the warranty. Diamonds Direct, the jeweler you can trust with a no questions asked 100% free lifetime warranty with no strings attached. Come see us to learn more.
Reason number 52 to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler. Only Diamonds Direct gives you a 110% diamond upgrade guarantee. Diamonds Direct will give you 110% of your original purchase price toward the new stone. That's 10% more than you paid the first time. Guaranteed appreciation. Who else does this? There's no fine print and no minimum purchase requirement. It's 10% more, period. Buy with confidence. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports desk. Packers head coach Matt LaFleur in his season-ending press conference reflecting on a season that ended with 3 straight losses.
I just think we have to be a little bit more consistent, and especially in those big-time games. You can't turn the ball over. Everybody has got to play their best, especially your best players got to play their best in the big games.
Packers will own pick number 23 in April's draft. Big night of basketball. The Bucks welcome in the Kings for Game 1 of a 4-game homestand. Coverage begins following the 6 o'clock news on WTMJ. College basketball, 7th-ranked Marquette visits DePaul for a 6 o'clock tip. Hear that game on 94.5 ESPN. And 24th-ranked Wisconsin hosts Ohio State at the Kohl Center for an 8 o'clock tip. Badger Sports Updates, sponsored by Siding Unlimited. It's siding and a whole lot more. Taking a look at your roads here, WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic Update. A couple of disabled vehicles on the system. 43 southbound, about a mile and a half or so beyond the ramp from Racine Avenue. The right shoulder is blocked due to a disabled vehicle. If you're headed southbound toward the state line in Kenosha area, disabled vehicle on the exit from Highway 50. That's going southbound toward the state line. Otherwise, volume pretty light. Conditions favorable for driving this afternoon.
Traffic is sponsored by the Amazing Mineshaft Restaurant in downtown Hartford.
Hey, through January 15th, buy a $100 gift card from the Mineshaft Restaurant in Hartford. Get a $20 gift card free. Order online today at mineshaftrestaurant.com.
Sunny, cold, and breezy today, a high of 17 degrees. Clear tonight, a low of 5. Wind chill anywhere from 0 to 10 below. Wednesday's high, 24 under mostly sunny skies. Snow possible at night. Thursday up to 36. Friday up to 43. Right now in Madison, it's 9 degrees. Green Bay, 15. 9 in Waukesha, 11 at the Avenue. I'm Greg Matzik. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 1:08.
65,498 square miles. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get to it. This is Spanning the State, and here are your hosts, Kristin, Brey, and Brian Noonan.
Good afternoon. Happy. I said it was cold yesterday. It is really cold today.
And listening to Niz tell us that it's going to get colder and colder. Oh, I love the Midwest in the winter.
And it's makes you feel alive, doesn't it, Brian?
Well, it makes me feel like I'm fighting for my life. So I guess if that's, yes, in some ways that is a correct statement.
Yeah.
It's survival because you shouldn't have to worry about walking out to your garage and dying. That's just, Mother Nature shouldn't try to kill you.
Well, it does a lot.
Well,
as
yes,
we know.
it's everywhere, but she's just, I don't know, I don't get it. I do worry when it's really cold, and sometimes, the dogs are goofs, and they won't come in, so sometimes I don't have time to bundle up to run out to the yard to scoop one up as they're rolling around, in the sub-zero temperatures. Like, get in here, you idiot. So, yes, I do fear sometimes for my life.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. Well, speaking of something that is fighting for its life.
Ooh.
Are you?
Nice segue.
You're not on TikTok, right?
I have it on the phone.
Okay.
I'm logged in. But do I use it? No. But you, I know, are. This is.
I have an admission to make that I think I only came to grips with yesterday, maybe Sunday night. So obviously, I think people probably know at this point, TikTok is set to be shut down in the United States on January 19th, unless the Supreme Court intervenes or it's sold to an American owner. So the oral hearings happened on Friday, and the line of questioning did not make it sound like it was very good for TikTok. And I realized Sunday night I spent. So for people who don't know the background,
I was going to ask you to remind people why it might get shut down.
Why it might get
shut down, and then your background.
It was passed, right? Congress passed a bill. It was part of a bigger humanitarian act. It was kind of baked in there, and so there's some lawmakers who knew what they were signing and were like, "This is good," because prior to that, they had already tried to sign a ban, and that didn't pass.
Right.
But Biden signed it, and it's part of this bigger package, and now it's being challenged, and it just went in front of the Supreme Court. And basically, at the heart of this is the fight between free speech and national security, because TikTok is owned by ByteDance, which is a Chinese company, and ultimately the argument is that the Chinese Communist Party owns ByteDance.
Yes.
And is this a national security threat because it is so invasive as far as getting biometric data and facial recognition and all of the things of how much data we give TikTok, just like we give every other social media app, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or Twitter. Like, data privacy is a red herring to me as far as this being a thing, because we give our information out freely.
But those are American companies.
So so what people may or may not know about me is, like, I owe my career in Wisconsin to TikTok.
Okay.
Right? TikTok, social media.
Sure.
But largely, like, out of all the places I put social media videos out, on TikTok, I have like 62,000 followers versus Instagram, where I have like 14, right?
Okay.
So it's like, this is like, I built a bigger following there as far as the creativity and information and kind of how I think people ended up finding out who I was, where I got a show here, right? And so like all these opportunities that popped up from it. And because my job now is here, I didn't think that I would be and this is what's like embarrassing to admit, kind of sad that it could be going away.
Wow.
And I think to people like you who is not on it, and I'm sure I would love to know from our listeners who's on TikTok, because I'd imagine most of them are not, and most people who are not on TikTok at all think this is kind of silly, and like, what's the big deal?
Yeah, well, the big deal is millions of people make a lot of money on TikTok. That is their job.
So between small businesses who use it as a lead generator, as far as because the way the algorithm works, it largely your content finds an audience instead of having to be a marketing expert, right? And so small businesses have a lead generation. There's tons of e-commerce type businesses that sell things on TikTok. There's lots of content creators who you literally do get paid if you get a lot of views, right? Because you're keeping people on the app. So there's a ton of different revenue streams that come from this app. And it's a great way to organize as far as people trying to get information out. It's a rebuff to legacy media. This is what lots of social media has always been, is it's taking away the gatekeeper.
Right.
Right? As far as needing to have someone say yes before you can just start creating things. Now, there's a lot of downside to that. But I just am dealing with the fact, because I started downloading all these other apps that people are saying are potential replacements, and they're all just garbage. They're all not the same. Instagram is not the same. YouTube Shorts is not the same. Other smaller things that could maybe have potential, but it needs an influx of people who are creating things there. And it's just, I don't know if there's a Hail Mary. I know Senator Ed Markey from Massachusetts yesterday announced via press release that he is going to be proposing a bill, I think today, that would extend the TikTok ban deadline for 270 days. There was Bloomberg reported randomly yesterday that maybe Elon Musk would buy it, which at that point I would rather them just ban it entirely. But it's a big deal. Even if for you personally don't think it's a big deal, to a lot of people it is.
Yeah.
And I am starting to come to the terms with, like, it's a bigger deal to me than I thought it was.
Well, it makes sense, the argument between, the two sides. The free speech, which TikTok is all the social media, and that was part of the Meta thing, the fact checking, but it's all based on free speech. The national security thing doesn't hold quite as much water as you said, because we do give our information to everybody. I don't worry about my information getting out there. I mean, I'm careful. I follow all the rules. I do all that. If somebody's going to get your information, they're going to get your information, and we give it away all the time without knowing it, because it's the old saying, if you're not paying for a product, you're the product.
Exactly.
So everything that we use for free on the internet that you think, oh, isn't this great? Somebody's giving me this. Well, sure, they're giving it to you, but what are you giving back to them? That's the thing.
Exactly. All right. Well, we're going to keep this conversation going. When we come back, we're going to talk to an expert on free speech and social media. She's a journalist not a journalist. She's a professor at the journalism school at UW-Madison. So when we come back, we'll talk more about the TikTok ban with Kathy Culver on Spanning the State.
The best teams in the NBA have tough defenses.
Oh, okay, foul, charging.
But when it comes to Sacramento,
That was a flagrant personal intentional foul.
their defense is easier to drive through than a Burger King.
Name one other restaurant that does that.
Burger King. The Kings peel out to Milwaukee to battle the Bucks.
Chris going the other way. He lobs up top. Giannis rams it home again.
Our Bucks radio game day coverage starts tonight at 6:30. We are the home of the Bucks. WTMJ.
Fingers come in different sizes,
It's one of the first things you learn as a jeweler,
and a ring can only be sized up or down a little bit.
which means it's a really good thing to know your ring size.
And it's an even better thing to know their ring size.
This is why we're announcing
The Ring Size Registry at Kessler's.
we're doing it as a public service. It's completely free.
Free. Isn't that a great price?
Here's how it works.
Just drop into any Kessler's Diamonds location and tell one of the owners that you'd like to know your ring size.
Kessler's is an employee-owned company, so whoever greets you at the door is an owner.
They'll determine your ring sizes and add them to our Ring Size Registry.
Then, when someone wants to know your ring size,
Because, maybe they want to surprise you.
all they have to do is call or stop into Kessler's.
Surprises can be fun, don't you think?
We're happy to do this for you, even if you don't buy a ring from us.
But after you take a look around, we think you probably will. Visit KesslersDiamonds.com for a location near you and register your ring sizes today.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit means sit dog training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat.
See, they can't ban TikTok, Brian. Who's going to come up with this kind of stuff and put it out into the world?
I enjoy it. I think it's hilarious. I hope. Listen, I'm torn because I don't know if China is being, duplicitous in this and there's all sorts of national security implications. Depends on who you listen to on Capitol Hill. I know, for people like you who use it for good rather than evil, it's a bad move.
Well, we're talking about the TikTok ban that unless something changes before January 19th, which is Sunday, TikTok will slowly erode because it's not that it will be banned, it will that you can't download updated versions of the app from app stores. So here to discuss the implications of a possible TikTok ban is Kathleen Culver, an expert on free expression, media ethics, and social media, and a professor at UW-Madison. Welcome back to the show, Kathleen.
Thanks so much for having me.
So, as someone who studies this, do you feel like this is actually a threat between national security and freedom of expression, or is there something else going on?
Well, I actually think the freedom of expression questions are the most interesting because, of course, we're talking about everybody frames this as a TikTok ban, but what Congress said was actually this is a divestment. So the Chinese Communist Party, through ByteDance, needs to divest from U.S. TikTok, and they obviously have no First Amendment rights, and that's certainly what the Supreme Court was focused on. So it's not as much of a free expression issue. I think what we will be facing will be sort of a user revolution issue.
Well, what do you mean by when you say user revolution? What do you mean by that?
I mean, I think users are very concerned about losing access to the app, and they're in revolt about it. A number of them trying to go to the Chinese version of TikTok, and I think in part that's because we haven't done a particularly good job of letting users know why this is a problem, why this app may actually be causing them harm.
And why is that?
Because it's incredibly addictive. The issue here, as you guys were reflecting on already.
I'm the first one to admit it, for sure.
Yep, and as my daughter was reflecting on this morning, asking me what's going to happen on Sunday. I do think, we have a former Wisconsin Congressman, Mike Gallagher, referred to it as digital fentanyl. And that might be a bit of an exaggeration, but I think it's a good way of thinking about this app. When you have so many users who say, I can't live without something, we are thinking about addictive behaviors here. And the reason that ByteDance would not want to spin off U.S. TikTok is because they refuse to give up the algorithm. And that, to me, makes me skeptical about what's in the algorithm that is particularly addictive.
Have we seen this before, though, with other social media platforms? Weren't people addicted this way to Instagram when it came out and Twitter when it first started? What makes TikTok different in that way?
Certainly, I think we all have to be thinking about addictive behaviors with social media. The amount of time that we spend on social media and isolated from actual in-person socialization has been growing. What makes this different is the algorithm. So when you hear creators say something like, well, I can't possibly leave TikTok and go over to Instagram because I can't capture the audience and attention and minutes on Instagram that I do on TikTok, that's because TikTok's algorithm is delivering audience quite possibly through addiction.
Do we have, because as someone who spends a lot of time on both apps, I feel like Meta is just as guilty of this. And if they could figure out TikTok's algorithm, there's no way that they wouldn't capitalize on it. And I feel like that also is some of the conversation behind the scenes as far as how much lobbying money Meta put into trying to get this done. And that there is a bigger conversation that does not have anything to do with national security or the well-being of us as citizens, but it's actually about money.
Well, in the end, it all is about capitalism, isn't it? But yeah. I would say most of Meta's lobbying money was actually trying to shut down COSA, the Kids Online Safety Act, which they did successly, in my mind, unfortunately. Yep.
That's a different topic entirely.
That's a whole, have me back at some point. We'll talk more about that. But yes, there is tremendous competition in this space. But I think one of the things that gets lost on TikTok users is how vulnerable they are when their data can be swept up so broadly, and how vulnerable other people can be. So, for instance, during the Supreme Court oral arguments, the government raised the issue that by default, when people go on TikTok, they allow access to their contacts. And it made me pause and ask my 3 kids, hey, do you have this setting on TikTok? And they all said, uh-huh. And so my data is swept up. Yeah, I'm in their contacts list with my name, my profession, my birth date. And not that I'm doing anything that would make me open to being a national security vulnerability, but I'm not at all comfortable with that data being out there. And we do have evidence. The Chinese Communist Party demanded data from U.S. TikTok related to journalists and their data, their contacts, their movement, because they were trying to suss out leaks in the government. And so we have evidence that this national security concern does exist. It is real.
And so if it's as real as is being proven, what then, how do we sell that to the users? How do we get Americans who are on TikTok to say, wow, this really is dangerous, we have to make a change? Or are we too far gone on that where people just don't care?
I don't know. It sounded from your conversation like you guys were very comfortable giving away your data, saying, I get this app, I get a benefit from this app, and so I'm surrendering my data as the cost.
Well, no,
and I think
it's just part of the way every app is. I mean, our data is taken even in things that a grocery store app suddenly has my data because they know what I eat every week. And it's either we don't use anything or we resign ourselves to the fact that our data is out there. And if that's the case, what's going to make Twitter worse other than, what they've proven? And do people really care?
I honestly don't know the answer to that last question. Do people really care? I've actually been quite surprised over the last 20 years about how sort of casually people give up their data and information. We now have situations where we're recorded going into the grocery store. There are screens that have our video, and that video is saved. And they could take biometric data from that video. And when it went up in one of my grocery stores, I stopped going to that grocery store. My husband was like, I don't care. I have nothing to hide. So I think we're fairly casual about how much we give away that data. But I will say to the other apps that you mentioned, whether it's X or Meta with Instagram and Facebook, those are U.S. companies. And we have civil liberties protections in the United States that if the government came calling and demanded the user data of journalists on Instagram, for instance, we have protections. That's not the situation we face with the Chinese Communist Party. There is no free expression. And so we're talking about a foreign adversary here owning this company, and they could spin it out tomorrow, and U.S. TikTok would be exactly what it is today, but they're refusing to do that. And I think that should raise some skepticism. I also think we should have a healthy skepticism every time our government says, well, because national security. We all should be questioning that. Like we all should say, where's the data, where's the evidence? And an interesting thing about this case that the Supreme Court, 3 of the justices were very fixated on, is that the government has sealed data that it says, sealed files about the national security implications, and the TikTok litigants did not get access to it.
Oh.
And I think that is a problem.
Yeah. All right.
Wow.
Unfortunately, Kathleen, we have to let you go, but super fascinating. We'll have to have you back to talk about COSA because that was really interesting.
Okay.
But yes, thank you so much for your time today.
Good luck if it goes dark on Sunday.
Oh, thank you. At least I still have a radio show, right?
There you go. Thanks, Kathleen.
All right.
Kathleen Culver is an expert on free expression, media ethics, and social media, and a professor at UW-Madison. And we'll be back after this.
New Year's resolution, finally do something about that old garage door. Vince Vitrano for Lifetime Door Company. Time to give the biggest door to your home the look, style, and function it demands. Our holiday guests, first thing they say when they walk in, wow, that new garage door looks really nice. Lifetime also installed a new opener. So quiet, LED lights, camera equipped. You can even run it from an app on your phone. To help fit your budget, through January, tell them Vinny sent you. They'll knock 5% off the total purchase on all service and installation. Get started at lifetimedoor.net.
Throughout history, some people have been born into greatness because of their name or family. Others gained greatness because of their actions. On Wisconsin's Morning News, we celebrate everyday heroes, the John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they woke up one morning they'd be saving a life. Everyday Heroes, Thursday at 6:40 on Wisconsin's Morning News. Presented by Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, transforming the culture of care.
Sick of being bullied by your bank with surprise fees, getting stuck on hold, and bankers who don't get you? Wintrust takes a different approach. Whether you need banking solutions, a new home, or help planning your financial future, Wintrust has local experts ready to lend a hand. Stop banking the same way and expecting different results, and start banking where you matter at wintrust.com/no-bully. Wintrust, different approach, better results. Banking products provided by Wintrust Financial Corp Banks. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's spanning the state. I'm old enough to remember when the government told us there were WMDs. And they
I'm
were
old
not.
enough to remember that.
Are you
too.
old enough to remember that?
I'm less old. I'm not old enough to remember the reason why we got into the Vietnam War, but I am old enough about
Nor
the
am
WMDs.
I'm not old enough for that either. But I do remember the WMDs, and I'm not saying our government is lying to us over the Chinese government. We just have to be a little wary. ABC News, local headlines next.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Fire crews in California slowly trying to contain the major wildfires burning in Los Angeles County for more than a week. The Eaton fire, just 35% contained. LA City Fire Chief Kristin Crowley says dangerous Santa Ana winds are back.
Remain alert as danger has not yet passed.
House Speaker Mike Johnson clarifying yesterday's remarks that there should be conditions on federal funding for the state, saying there are discussions on how to best spend any approved funds over the reconciliation bills.
The leader and I come from a disaster-prone state, Louisiana. We deal with hurricanes and floods and tornadoes all the time, and wildfires as well. We all know that. We all feel that. We're all Americans. And the Americans there that are affected, desperately need and deserve help.
Confirmation hearings wrapping up for Defense Secretary nominee Pete Hegseth. Democrats grilled Hegseth over his comments that women should not serve in combat. Hegseth pushing back on allegations of sexual assault and personal misconduct. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 1:31 from the WTMJ Breaking News Center. I'm Greg Matzik. Another fatal hit and run in Milwaukee. Police tell WTMJ a body was discovered in the road at 14th and North on the city's north side. A suspect intentionally struck a male victim with the vehicle during an argument, then fled the scene. No one is in custody. Cedarburg Piggly Wiggly shoppers being asked to check their bank accounts. Police found a credit card skimmer on the card reader at one of Olson's Piggly Wiggly registers on Washington Avenue. It was added on January 8th, about 5:30 in the evening. Police are looking for two men involved. You can see their photos on our website at WTMJ.com. Emergency phone lines are back up and running in several central Wisconsin counties. 911 services failed Monday afternoon in Columbia, Adams, Marquette, Iowa, Juneau, and Richland counties. The Columbia County Sheriff's Office says a fiber optic line was cut in the region. Technicians restored 911 operations late in the evening. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow Jones currently up about 220 points, about 0.5% at 42,516. NASDAQ is up about 30 this afternoon at 19,117. And the S&P 500 up about 20 today at 5853. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite, financial planning at every level. For details, visit annexwealth.com. Time for a look at your roads. The WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic Update. Volume pretty light. You're moving about pretty freely on the system today. A couple of disabled vehicles. One, 43 southbound, about 1.5 miles. from Racine Avenue. That is heading southbound on 43. Toward the state line in Kenosha, disabled vehicle on Highway 50 headed southbound toward Illinois. Sunny, cold, and breezy today with a high of 17. Wind chill anywhere from 5 to 15 below. Cold tonight and a low of 5. Tomorrow we warm up to 24 degrees under mostly sunny skies. Chance for snow in the evening. Thursday's high 36. Friday's high up to 43. Right now in Waukesha, it's 9 degrees. Green Bay's 17, 11 in Waukesha, and 13 at the Avenue. I'm Greg Matzik. Siding Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 1:34.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
Just like most cars and trucks can't run without oil, no person can function without food. That's why through March 1st, the Auto Dealers of Metro Milwaukee is contributing $1 from every oil change to Feeding America, Eastern Wisconsin. Every dollar provides 3 healthy meals. Over the past 14 years, Adam has provided more than 2.6 million meals to people in southeast Wisconsin. And now the need is greater than ever. Find a participating Adam dealer near you at adamm.com.
Something amazing is happening in education. Students are inspired and engaged. That's because school districts consulted with CDW, who designed modern classroom solutions with pre-configured HP devices, making learning more accessible, secure, and immersive. Now when students study topics like elephants, it feels like elephants are there with them. HP and CDW. Make amazing happen. Learn more at cdw.com/HPPSG.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. Every day, ZipRecruiter helps people who are actively looking for jobs like yours, so it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hi folks, this is Hank Albert, owner of BBC Lighting. At BBC, we sell all the top brands of lights and ceiling fans, such as Visual Comfort, Tech, Schoenbeck Crystal, and hundreds more. We get every brand, and our prices are the lowest. I guarantee it. In our award-winning showroom, you'll also find factory closeouts with lights and fans priced well below their original cost. If it's lampshades or repairs you need, we do all that too. There's something for everyone at BBC, including fun for the kids and our famous free popcorn. We're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, Saturday, 10 to 4, and located at 20th and St. Paul Avenue, across from Sobelman's, near the Potawatomi Casino. Stay safe and healthy, my friends.
For Giving Tuesday, where we introduce you to Wisconsin people and organizations that are advocating for causes across the state. So, Brian, how important was your bedroom to you as a kid, especially as a one in 5?
Yeah, the bedroom was just a place to sleep with us because
there was no posters on the wall that to make it your own.
The first poster, I mean, there were a few posters, but the iconic Farrah Fawcett poster made an appearance in our room back in the day. But there were 3 of us. 3 twin beds on one wall, 3 dressers on the other wall, and then the small bedroom that was the nursery had too, so it wasn't like a sanctuary for me.
Well, mine was certainly a little bit more of a sanctuary, but I feel like you don't think about how important your bedroom is when you're an active kid who isn't sick or isn't at home as much as because you have all these activities to do. But for kids with cancer, their bedroom really can become truly a sanctuary for them. So Special Spaces is a nonprofit organization that creates dream bedrooms for children with cancer. So it becomes a special place where they can not only sleep, relax, and recover, but also play and enjoy just being a kid. So here to talk about Special Spaces is Kathy Wolfla, who's a Wisconsin State Director, and Cindy Thoda, who is a Director for Special Spaces. So welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
So out of all the things a kid with cancer needs, which is a lot, why bedrooms?
Why bedrooms is because they spend so much of their time in the hospital, which is kind of a scary place.
Yeah.
And they have to go to a lot of things that are not comfortable for them. And a lot of the families that we have are making choices between food and bedding and taking care of things and meds. So if we can come in and get everybody in a bed, off the floor, and give them a safe, clean place that's in their brain, whatever they make up, not what I make up, what they make up, and they take ownership of it. Studies have shown it's going to help their improvement of their health all the way around because it gives them a safe, comfortable place that's theirs. Not like, and I've done bedrooms where there's been 2 and 3 children in them.
Sure.
I did one that had 5 in it.
Oh, my God.
And one of them had cancer. And I had to try to get the 2-year-old off of jumping off the top bed to land on the poor child's bed on the bottom that had cancer. It was like, get off of him. But we do what the child wants to do.
That's very nice. So how does the program work? Who qualifies for this?
We have children who are within 1 year of active treatment. So anybody can apply through the website. We get referrals through social workers, past families, people that hear about us on the radio. Anybody can apply through our website. That's who we help.
And what is the website? We might as well give that a couple times.
Specialspaces.org.
Very easy. All right. So then, as you were saying, what the kid wants. So Cindy, when you meet with a new family, someone qualifies, they get accepted. What from soup to nuts, what is the process as far as like pulling out their ideas and actually putting them into some kind of design that can be built?
It's a blast.
Yeah.
It's a complete blast. Girls are way more into it than boys. I will fully say that. You might get 10,000 boards that have ideas that they've looked at Pinterest. Or I've had a little girl who was 5 and she couldn't decide if she wanted an enchanted forest or a princess room. So we did both. So one whole wall was filled with greens, and then her bed was a princess bed. And then we had to put a big ceramic toad in the corner because you got to kiss a lot of frogs. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So we do whatever the child wants. And a little girl that I did recently, I call her room. She's dynamic, and she wanted, think of a cupcake and a sprinkle got married. And then the room was a big sequin. That's what she wanted it to look like. And I'm like,
whoa,
wow, okay. And this was the first time that I had ever wallpapered a ceiling because she has cancer where she's laying in her bed all the time.
Yeah.
And we found a really awesome light fixture that was a ceiling fan that music would play through it and it would change colors and it would, pulse to whatever the beat was. And then we made the whole ceiling look like jimmies and sprinkles, sparkly jimmies and sprinkles. It was very fun. And she was out of control happy.
Had you done stuff like this before? Do you have like an art background?
Oh, gosh, no. I'm a mom from the suburbs. No, I was in pharmaceutical. No, not at all. I was in pharmaceutical sales. So my husband's a physician.
Okay.
So in our family, he has to tell people that they have cancer, and then I can go in and actually do something. And we have 2 kids. Now my son's getting his PhD in cancer research.
Okay.
Our daughter's going to be a vet. They grew up with this. It's important for us that they give back. So that's how we got involved with it.
But your imagination had
it's awesome.
You said that to me, and I was like, a cupcake and a sprinkle.
They got married.
Yeah, where do you even start?
And so are you the head designer?
Yeah,
as far
it's a
as
blast.
like you kind of coax out of the child's imagination and literally try to bring it to life.
Absolutely.
So are you at Home Depot or Lowe's just all the time?
I'm everywhere. Steinhoffel's one of our corporate partners, so they're the best for furniture. So I run out and I say to my guy, okay, this is what I need. And then we run around. And then we also have different people online that we can contact that have ideas of we have a Pottery Barn person. We have somebody at Wayfair. We have all these different people that we can contact. But like the one that I'm doing now, it's 2 little boys and they both have cancer, which is crazy. The 2-year-old and the 5-year-old have cancer.
Oh my gosh.
So one of them wants Matchbox cars and one of them wants volcanoes. with dinosaurs that have a beach. And I'm like, So it'll be very fun.
Yeah.
But, you got to do what they want to do.
Sure.
And I think that's the hardest thing for me is that it's not necessarily what I would always want it to look like, but you want it to be what they want it to look like. And you want it to be safe. And then we always get lots of extra sets of sheets because, cancer kids are thrown up and, so we do all that kind of stuff. And then I learned very quickly my first room, you got to do the bedding at the child's house because the cancer treatments make their skin so sensitive. And I washed the first sheets at my house and then brought it to my first child 18 years ago. And then she had a rash and I felt terrible. So now it's like, no. I'm not changing any of whatever the mom does for the bedding and things like that, however she washes it. So we do that at the house and we spend 2 days with a group of volunteers cleaning and making a dream bedroom for this child. And it's the best. And everybody always cries when the child comes home.
Oh, sure. Are there...
I was going to say, it reminds me of Dream Makeover, like the home edition, as far as when people
like
show up.
Yeah, but
right?
we're way more fun.
We do that.
We're way more fun.
We have a surprise reveal. So we invite the family, we invite the relatives, the neighbors to come over with the volunteer team. We do offer corporate sponsorships. If anybody out there wants information on that, bring your team, spend 2 days with us. You actually do the work. You paint. You wallpaper, you clean, you assemble furniture, you make beds, you put decor on the walls. Come spend a couple days with us, and it's an amazing experience. And we always cry during the surprise reveal, always.
And it's what Kathy says. So you'll get somebody like me that would be your director. So we meet with the child, get everything paved out, get everything shopped, get everything set up of what we want to do. And then we have the volunteer team comes in and then we go crazy.
Oh, that's
and it's
so
the
great.
best.
All right. So then as far as something that is coming up, you guys have a Special Spaces night coming up at the Admirals game next month, right?
We do. We're so lucky. We're excited. Mitchell Tenpenny's going to be in concert after the big Admirals game. The puck drops at 6 o'clock, and it's Saturday, February 22nd. It's Special Spaces night with the Milwaukee Admirals. And if you'd like tickets, you can find those on our website, again, specialspaces.org.
Awesome. All right. So specialspaces.org. If you want more information about how to get involved, how to donate, how to go to the Admirals game, all things there.
Or be a corporate sponsor because we really need those guys.
We
want to do 62 rooms this year, so we need 62 sponsors.
Oh, this is. I'm so happy we had you in.
There's some people with money up there.
There is.
We're headed right there.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
You want to give us some names, buddy?
All right. Well,
just look for the big office.
Thank you so much for coming in today, ladies.
That's terrific.
Thank you
Thanks,
for having
ladies.
us. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Kathy Wolfla and Cindy Thoda are both from Special Spaces, Wisconsin, and we'll be back after this.
If you know of a Wisconsin organization you would like highlighted on Giving Tuesday, email us at spanning@wtmj.com. We can always use a little help from our
James Imaging Systems, local support, local accountability, local business technology representatives. Listen to Matheson Manufacturing President Al Leidinger.
She still checks in to see how things are going and if we need anything, so I really do appreciate that from a customer service standpoint.
Michael Quizan, IT Systems Administrator at Great Midwest Bank, discovered the benefits of working with the local team at James.
Our cost from supplies perspective went down. I mean, we're talking about thousands in a year. So we saved a lot of money by bringing James Imaging on.
James Imaging Systems client Luther Gray, Director of Ticket Operations and Group Sales with the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra, on dealing with James.
They are making sure you get the full value and life of every product that you have with them.
Local support, local accountability, local people. Get it all with James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today. You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
For WTMJ contest rules, visit WTMJ.com/contests.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Chief Market Watcher Brian Wickert. Well, a lot of folks have buying a home on their New Year's resolution list, and while national news headlines talk about the inventory of homes for sale being a lot higher this year, I'm afraid that's just not the case in most of Wisconsin. So how do you make your offer stand out from the others so that someone else doesn't end up sleeping in your dream home? Well, it takes a team of a good real estate agent and a mortgage lender who has all the tools and techniques to help make your offer as attractive as possible in the eyes of that seller. Sure, you can go with a flimsy, unimaginative bank pre-approval, or you you can present your offer with an AccuNet rock-solid, fully verified, and guaranteed pre-approval that might also come with the phrase that really makes sellers happy: no appraisal required. We'll also help you understand exactly what it means in dollars and cents if you do decide to offer over asking or give that seller some appraisal wiggle room. All you have to do to get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval is click on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeanssitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores has been voted the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel's Best in Thrift. So to all who voted for us, thank you. And to those who haven't yet been here, there are so many items to explore. And at thrift store prices, you can find a really great deal. At the same time, you'll be helping us help others, sometimes folks right in your own neighborhood. St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Well, that was a story that makes us feel good.
Absolutely.
That was very nice.
What would you have decorated your room with?
Probably either astronauts, because that was the big Apollo time. So astronauts or like police stuff.
Police stuff?
Yeah,
interesting. Was there a time in your life you thought you were going to be a police officer?
As a kid, I wanted to join the FBI.
Yeah.
Yes, because my grandfather was a Chicago cop, so it was kind of a thing. But yeah, so those would have been mine. How about you?
Probably dogs. I had my room was covered in dog posters.
Okay.
At least until like high school. But yeah, it was probably something to do with fluffy dogs as far as. But my favorite story about that is wanting my own dog. We had a family dog.
Okay.
But I really wanted a dachshund, like a little wiener dog. And I guess I was 5 or 6 when I was trying to convince my mom to let me have one. She said, well, who would walk it? So I wouldn't have to walk it very far because his legs aren't very long.
Good logic.
That was kid logic,
yeah,
right?
That was very good logic.
Strong, very strong.
Very
All right.
strong.
Well, I wanted to touch on this, and we don't have a ton of time, but did you see that? So obviously the Big Ten.
No longer just 10.
Certainly no longer just 10. As of 2010, there was 11 teams. By 2014, Nebraska, Rutgers, Maryland had all joined. And now, as of 2024, USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington are all there. And you might think Rutgers is in New Jersey and USC is in Southern California. So that is a lot of flying on a plane as college athletes. And we now have the numbers that carbon dioxide emissions from Big Ten football team travel for regular season conference games more than tripled in a year.
Wow.
Because of having to go coast to coast like that.
That would concern me if climate change were real. I say that for the people who are getting ready to text. I got your point out, even sarcastically.
No, I know. And so it's
that's a lot.
Some of the Big Ten, like the response about this is, quote, our priority in football scheduling is to balance geography and travel to create compelling matchups in a flexible format that maximizes opportunities for Big Ten teams to access the expanded college football playoff and win national championships. So this was the Big Ten said in a statement. This was back in August. So I guess that statement is before these numbers
came out.
But I guess, should they not think about it? Is it just not important? Because I think most football fans don't even like that the Big Ten is now 18 teams, right? Like there's just like the how quickly college sports is changing between the portal and paying college students and what the amalgamation of conferences. But then also to add on to all of that, it's also terrible for the climate.
Are they flying private? Do we know?
I don't know that off the top of
Because
my
if
head.
they're not flying private, these are commercial flights that are going anyway. So why do we hang it on the Big Ten instead of looking at the entire travel industry?
Good question.
That says, hey, you got a million flights going from Newark to LAX. Do we need all those flights? So just because the Rutgers team is on there, it's not Rutgers' fault. They're just buying tickets.
That's an interesting. Now I want to go. I'm not going to do it on air because that's going to waste everyone's time. But that's an interesting distinction. Are they flying commercial or private?
Yeah, private. You could make the case. Yes, that seems like a waste. But in this statement, it doesn't seem like the Big Ten is worried about the climate.
No,
at all.
it certainly does not seem like that was high on their priority list whatsoever. As far as
worried
making
about
these
making
decisions.
money.
But I just feel like 10 years from now we're not going to recognize college sports at all.
That's that's
Which
a whole
for a lot
other
of
issue.
reasons, that's beyond just carbon emissions.
There is something about being a purist and wanting the Big Ten just to have 10 Midwestern teams and all of that, but money talks. We brought it up with the social media. It all comes down to cash and who's going to I'm sure the SEC people were not happy when they started bringing other people into the SEC because that was the hallowed Southern Football Conference. That's why Notre Dame stays independent. Wink, wink.
All right. On that note, when we come back, we will spin around the state on Spanning the State.
Catch up on Wisconsin's midday news with Greg Matzik and Jessica Ty.
It's not the extension of pumpkin spice season. No, it is not a maple cold foam cold brew with artichoke.
In the mornings, Greg will typically drink an iced coffee, a cold coffee. Gina does hot coffee, and then I do tea.
By listening to the Wisconsin's Midday News Podcast.
Darkest Retreat isn't for me. Ayahuasca's probably not for me.
Sponsored by Siding Unlimited.
Want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with Dayquil VapoCool. It's Dayquil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is Dayquil VapoCool.
Dayquil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Morning, Paula.
Morning, Ron.
Another day in Adminville, am I right?
What are you working on? Oh!
You okay?
Your tabs. You have so many open.
Yeah, gotta order lunch for the big client meeting. With great responsibility comes tabs.
I can help. Close all those tabs and open just one, EasyCater.com. Online ordering from local restaurants, plus tools to save time, stay on budget, track expenses.
One tab to rule them all.
EasyCater, the smarter way to order food for work. Order now at EasyCater.com.
You just can't pass on Less is Glass. Find us at lessglassservice.com.
By now you've probably figured out what's most important to us at Semperfi is our reputation. Building a great character-driven remodeling company is actually quite easy. It's just the first 20 years that are a bit challenging. Great companies are collections of great people, and we have great people. They're the ones that helped us build our reputation, but they only come after you've built something they want to be part of. We don't necessarily have to look for good people. They come to us. And that's what you want when you hire an exterior remodeling company. Someone who's going to stand behind their work, and a company that is truly proud of their people. And it's because they do great work. And when you're ready, we'll do great work for you too. This is Brad Younglith with Semperfi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semperfi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
Ready to tackle your home improvement project this winter? Exterior Pros and Baths is here to help you score big with quality home exterior and shower upgrades. As a 5-time President's Club Award winner, Exterior Pros is not playing around. With flexible financing, it's never been easier to invest in your home without breaking the bank. Get started today and save $2,000. Visit extpros.com or call 262-800-4274. That's 262-800-4274. Trust the pros and kick off your home transformation today.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Join the roar of 18,000 Bucks fans at Fiserv Forum and be a part of the slam dunks, game-changing plays, and electrifying victories live. Witness the edge-of-your-seat action and unforgettable moments as they happen. You don't want to miss this. Grab your calendar, handpick your favorite matchups, and secure your seats for Dame time in Milwaukee and every incredible moment that comes next at bucks.com/tickets. That's bucks.com/tickets.
Slipping on the ice?
Ugh.
Someone else shoveling your driveway.
Ah.
Cold feet?
Ugh.
Toasty tootsies.
Ah.
Waking up to a cold house?
Ugh.
With no warm air coming from the register.
Ugh.
And discovering your antiquated furnace is DOA.
Ugh.
But now, this is you learning that Mr. Holland's Home Services can install a new, fully warranted, highly efficient comfort system.
Ah.
Better yet, you can enjoy consistent, cozy comfort with payments as low as $79 a month with approved credit.
Ah.
Because you deserve it.
Ah.
If your failing furnace is showing signs of old age, be proactive. Call Mr. Holland's Home Services to schedule the installation of your brand new, fully functional comfort system for a low monthly rate. And take your winter from
Ugh.
to 866-992-1717. Or visit MrHollandsHomeservices.com. Ready to put some thaw in your... We can help.
I haven't had anything to eat for days, and being hungry hurts.
Going without oil changes can destroy your engine, but it doesn't compare to the effect of going without food. That's why the Automobile Dealers Association of Metro Milwaukee is determined to make sure no one goes to bed hungry. Through March 1st, they'll donate $1 from every oil change to Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin. Every dollar provides 3 healthy meals. Over the past 14 years, Adam has donated over $890,000, providing more than 2.6 million meals to people across southeast Wisconsin, the majority being children and seniors. And with today's ongoing challenges, the need is greater than ever. So help the hungry while helping your vehicle. Get your oil changed by Adam Dealer Factory Trained Techs at a price as low or lower than independent shops. Visit an Adam member dealer near you.
For a list of participating dealers, visit adamm.com.
For over a century, local radio has evolved with the needs of the community. From politics to pop culture, we keep you informed, bringing you the most relevant news, online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Traffic is brought to you by Rejuvenix, your non-surgical joint therapy experts.
Tonight, the Bucks dethrone some has-been kings.
Oh, here's Giannis taking the feed from Dame and lays it in as he glides into the cup.
The Bucks in Sacramento battle it out. Our coverage starts tonight at 6 with Bucks Shoot Around on your home for the Bucks. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
It's 2 o'clock and it's cold outside. 7 degrees. Tonight, mostly clear, cold, a low of 5. Wind chills down to 10 below. Tomorrow, sunny, still chilly, a high of 24 degrees. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm John Mercure. Clearing clouds this afternoon are leading to that bitter cold across southeast Wisconsin. Storm Team 4 meteorologist Tyler Moore says while the region will see a warm-up later this week, the bottom drops out heading into next Monday.
We're in the 30s by Thursday, 40s on Friday, and then here comes another cold shot of air, even colder than the one we're experiencing right now for Sunday into Monday of next week, with those wind chills looking very cold.
Your complete WTMJ 5-day forecast coming up in 5 minutes. With the bitterly cold temperatures, water pipes need to stay warm and secured. The superintendent for Milwaukee Water Works tells WTMJ this is prime time for water main and pipe breaks.
The months of highest main breaks are typically January and February, when the cold has set in, the frost starts to penetrate deeper into the ground. That is when we experience typically the highest incidence of main breaks.
Milwaukee Water Works encourages you to keep your basement warm and run water occasionally to prevent pipes from freezing. A Canadian firefighting aircraft is back and available in Southern California after an incident last week while battling the Palisades fire. ABC's Alex Stone has more.
After it hit an illegally flown hobby drone last week, the so-called Super Scooper is back in the air today. It had damage to a wing after hitting that drone. Now with a patch on the wing that had to be flown in from Quebec and approval from the FAA, the Super Scooper is back up and ready to battle wildfires. It's a huge asset in the fight against the flames. The FBI is trying to track down whomever was flying that drone.
Santa Ana winds are again blowing in Southern California as firefighters continue battling those deadly wildfires. The LA Medical Examiner reports 24 people are now confirmed dead. ABC's Alex Stone will join us live coming up on Wisconsin's Afternoon News. Happening right now, the Archdiocese of Milwaukee installing a new archbishop for the first time since 2010.
Throngs of people gathering inside and outside of the Cathedral of St. John the Evangelist as the Archdiocese of Milwaukee prepares to install Jeffrey Grubb as its 12th Archbishop. His Eminence Christophe Cardinal Pierre is a representative for Pope Francis today at the Cathedral. Also, the outgoing Archbishop Jerome Listecki will preside over the historic proceedings this afternoon. In downtown Milwaukee, Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money. Here's the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Mixed day for the market so far. The Dow is up 38 points. The NASDAQ is down 132. The S&P is off 17 points. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather up next. Outdoor Living Unlimited News Time, 2:04.
This change has leveled us up while being able to maintain the same quality of service that we've always provided, with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission. We're proud to be part of the Century 21 family, so you can move fearlessly with the added confidence of top-of-the-line marketing for maximum home exposure. And that means more eyeballs and the real potential for the highest price for your home. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. With the ability to market luxury homes on a higher scale than ever before, Century 21 Benefit Realty has taken a huge step forward to tap into a global network of buyers. Maximum exposure to spotlight your unique home with our fine homes and estates marketing so you can sell it for the highest price. And with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission, you win. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
In 1964, we were making strides towards space travel.
Mary Poppins was the #1 movie in theaters.
And the Beatles were taking America by storm.
Which was long before I was born.
Facts. 1964 is also the year it all started for Richland's Tire and Service Centers. 60 years of continuous growth and more happy customers than you can shake a stick at.
Okay, the streamers are a bit overkill. It's just us in the studio.
Well, all right. But it's important to know accomplishments like these aren't possible without a dedicated team. So hats off to them and our founder, my dad, Dick Manchke, for understanding the importance of customer focus.
Facts. There's no 60 years of anything without you, the customer, which is why our focus will remain on you and only you for years to come.
Thank you from all of us here at Richland's Tire and Service Centers.
Richland's Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richland's.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. In his season-ending press conference, Packers head coach Matt LaFleur reflecting on a season that ended with 3 straight losses.
I just think we have to be a little bit more consistent, and especially in those big-time games. You can't turn the ball over. Everybody has got to play their best, especially your best players got to play their best in the big games.
The Packers own the 23rd pick in April's draft. A big night of basketball as the Bucks welcome in the Sacramento Kings for game 1 of a 4-game homestand. Coverage begins following the 6 o'clock news on WTMJ. And college basketball, 7th-ranked Marquette visits DePaul, a 6 o'clock tip. And the 24th-ranked Wisconsin Badgers host Ohio State, an 8 o'clock tip. The Badgers are 13-3 on the season. Badger Sports Updates are sponsored by Siding Unlimited, Siding, and a whole lot more. Checking out those roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time-saver traffic. No major delays or slowdowns. That bright sunshine not causing any problems. And the WTMJ 5-day forecast. Tonight, mostly clear, cold, a low of 5. Wind chills down to 10 below. Tomorrow, sunny, an evening snow shower, a high of 24. Thursday, cloudy, warmer, 36 is your high. Friday, partly cloudy, mild, a high of 43. Saturday, mostly cloudy, a high of 32 degrees. Right now in Madison, sunny and 11 degrees. In Green Bay, sunshine and 18. In Milwaukee, clear skies and 15 degrees. I'm John Mercure, Outdoor Living Unlimited News Time, 2:07.
It's time to take a spin around Wisconsin and find stories you might have missed. Here's Spinning the State on Spanning the State with Kristin, Brey, and Brian Noonan.
Even with it as cold as it is, Wisconsin will not stand still. There's stories happening everywhere. We try to find some to highlight for you. If you want any more details on these stories, then text SPIN to 855-616-1620, and we'll send you a link. Or you can always, as I love to say, go get it on the podcast. That's what we like to. We send people to the podcast, don't we? Sure we do.
Sure we do.
All right, here we go. Let's spin it.
Ashland.
Oh, my goodness. Governor Evers had good news for electric vehicle owners during an announcement last week. The first federally funded electric vehicle charging stations are up and running in Wisconsin. The fast charging stations came online last month at Quick Trip locations in Ashland, Menominee, and Chippewa Falls. They're the first of 53 charging station projects at businesses across the state that have been awarded funding. Now, the state is receiving $78 million from the federal government's National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure, or NEVI, formula program. The 53 projects announced so far account for about $23 million of that funding. In a statement from the governor, which was reported on by WPR, Evers said, expanding EV infrastructure is critical to ensuring the state meets the demands of a, quote, 21st century workforce and economy, end quote. I look forward to more fast charging stations coming online as we continue building upon our work to bolster our EV infrastructure and provide more sustainable transportation alternatives for Wisconsinites and visitors alike traveling across our state. Man, politicians can go, can't they? The remaining 50 charging projects have already been announced, and they're expected to continue to come online through the first half of 2026.
All right.
Would you ever have an electric car?
I thought about getting an electric car.
Yeah.
And then at the time, this is when I was still driving to Waukesha every day for the old show, and before I had a really easy commute, which is what I have now. I was like, oh, maybe this will offset the cost for gas.
Sure.
At least the electric car I was looking at did not.
I've often wondered how much it costs to, for lack of a better term, fuel up an electric car, to recharge them. I see people pull into the thing.
It was the cost of the car. Like what
car.
the difference between my monthly payments versus just the Volvo that I was looking at versus just buying off the Volvo I was leasing that it's not an electric car.
Well, look at you with the Volvo.
Well,
yeah,
it was just, I'm not a car person.
That's well, that's a nice
It was kind
car.
of just felt it was like, oh, this is like $250 a month. Sure, sign me up. This is fine.
That
Good
sounds
enough.
good. Yeah, I don't know. I one of my friends just bought a hybrid. He likes the hybrid. I just worry. Like that's why I saw the map of the. They're putting it all through the main routes of Wisconsin, so you won't have any trouble finding a charging station. That's my biggest worry because I drive a lot and I like to take road trips and stuff.
Putter out.
Yeah, all of a sudden I'm in the middle of the Badlands and my battery's dead.
The Energizer Bunny dies.
Yeah,
You're just
no
like,
thanks. Then I'm out there just screaming at the sky like an old man.
Whose car is this?
Well, that was a different story.
I know.
All right, and that was well-deserved. They're lucky. They're actually very lucky. All right, let's spin the wheel again before I get in more trouble.
Madison.
All right, Madison. So we've heard about teacher shortages for years. School districts across Wisconsin and the country are working to make sure there are enough teachers to educate our children. How serious a problem is the shortage? Well, over 10% of the Madison School District's teachers are relying on one-year emergency licenses to work in classrooms.
Wow.
That percentage is based on numbers obtained by the Cap Times under state open record laws. A majority of the Madison Metropolitan School District's nearly 300 emergency licensed educators are teaching classes in bilingual education, English as a second language, or cross-categorical special education as of last month. 1-year emergency teaching licenses can be issued by Wisconsin's Department of Public Instruction to people with bachelor degrees in any subject, allowing them to teach in schools without meeting the requirements for full certification. Now, supporters say these licenses help fill roles with significant turnover or lack of certified candidates, while critics worry these educators may not yet be equipped with the skills and knowledge needed to teach students. As someone who has spent some time in the classroom, how do you feel about
I taught on a sub-license, a sub-certificate. So it's kind of like this. In Illinois, ours were renewable every 5 years. You'd go back in. The big problem here from the critics is with so many of these 300 people on emergency licenses in special ed classrooms, in English as a second language.
That feels like the place you need the most kind of specialized ed, training.
Yes, that's a valid point. If if your children are in special ed and they're being taught by someone who is not a special ed teacher. Now, some of these licenses have been given to classroom teachers who've taught in other places and have moved to Wisconsin and are trying to get their certification done. So it's not all just people with a bachelor's degree.
It's all just like 22-year-olds being like, I want to teach.
Right, or just saying, I need a gig. But it's you got to have people in the classroom.
I know.
Sometimes a warm body is the best you're going to do, and you hope that the people who are getting these emergency licenses want to do a good job in the classroom, which I'm guessing most of them do, and that there is oversight when you go into a more specialized classroom so that, the administration or the people who run the special ed program in that school or that district are giving a little more help to the people who are in there with those long-term things.
And who knows? I mean, maybe it'll be a proof of concept. Not that we want to rely on emergency licenses, but we need teachers.
You need teachers. And it's not only certified teachers. Every district needs substitute teachers. There's just a lack of people who, want to work for almost no money and have parents scream at them because their kids don't know how to read. Oh, my,
spin that wheel.
My. Here we go.
Stevens Point.
Oh, Stevens Point, getting high on their own supply. The business of legal cannabis continues to grow, no pun intended. Cannabis is now legal or decriminalized in all but 11 states. I'm looking at you, Wisconsin. 2 professors at UW Stevens Point have taken notice and are preparing their students for the cannabis industry. Last fall, the university launched a certificate program that allows students to enroll in 3 online classes to learn about the science of cannabis. The courses cover a range of topics related to the plant, ranging from the history of cannabis cultivation and controversies surrounding it to a course exploring the chemical compounds present in cannabis. Professor Brian Behringer and Associate Professor Shannon Reha are 2 of the professors teaching the new cannabis science program. Behringer told WPR they created the program because of the rapid growth in the legal cannabis industry nationwide. The researchers are exploring more than just science involving recreational use of cannabis. This I knew would interest you, Kristin. Behringer and Reha worked together on a project to explore how cannabis can be used to remove PFAS from the soil.
I've actually heard that before.
Yes.
I think I've covered that story before as far as how that can be beneficial.
It just pulls it right out of there.
It's funny because this just reminded me at Berkeley, there was classes called decal classes. So they were student-created, student-taught classes that you could take for pass, not pass credit. And they were great. They're always super creative and fun and stuff. And this reminds me of one of those classes, except it's actually professors who are teaching it. But I feel like something like this would fall under that of like, wait, I'm sorry, what? You're teaching what?
Well, now my alma mater has a brewing program. I'm like, I used to just drink down there as a hobby. Now I could have majored in it.
What could have been, Brian?
Oh, my life could have been so much different and so much more bloated. But that's neither here nor there. You can text SPIN to 855-616-1620 to get all the details on Spinning the State, or listen on the podcast wherever you find your favorite podcast. When we come back, oh boy, Philly fans, we talked about them the other day. Maybe some of them are as horrible as they are made out to be. We'll find out after this on Spanning the State.
Throughout history, some people have been born into greatness because of their name or family. Others gained greatness because of their actions. On Wisconsin's Morning News, we celebrate everyday heroes, the John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they woke up one morning they'd be saving a life. Everyday Heroes, Thursday at 6:40 on Wisconsin's Morning News. Presented by Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, transforming the culture of care.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
If you're able, please help people affected by the California wildfires in 2025. You can donate at redcross.org/ESPN to help the Red Cross respond and help people recover.
Is outdoor living limited at your place? Well, imagine a deck, a patio, pergola, fire pit, maybe even an outdoor kitchen in your yard. Outdoor Living Unlimited is a local, family-owned company that consults, designs, and builds these things. And they're the best. Let them make outdoor living unlimited in your yard like they did in ours. We are Wisconsin. We live outdoors as much as possible. Make the most of it with help from Outdoor Living Unlimited. See OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
Welcome back to Spanning the State. I am Kristin Brey.
And I'm Brian Noonan. On Friday, we talked to Jay Sorge, who used to work here at WTMJ, and he followed the Packers. He worked on the Packers radio network and all that because, of course, the Packers unfortunately fell to the Philadelphia Eagles. Were you guys watching the game?
Oh, yeah. We watched the game, and I mean, truly, it felt like it should have been more of a blowout than it was.
Yeah.
Right? Like the score did not reflect how poorly we were playing, I have so many thoughts on this story that has now erupted since Sunday's game.
Okay.
So I didn't realize this was happening until my husband showed this to me yesterday. So you may have heard that there was a Philly fan caught on camera, unprovoked.
Yes, he just didn't like that a young woman celebrated a first down.
He just didn't like having to sit next to a Packer fan, apparently, because he, in this video, is just berating this woman. And it's not like she was taking the high road. She was in Packers gear, and her fiance tweeted this out, and the video has since, I think on Twitter alone, on his original post, has 33 million views, let alone how many times it's been shared. And then one of these internet sleuths, because there's going back to TikTok, right? There are certain people on the internet who have built an entire following on tracking down people who behave poorly in public, people who do like racist rants, people who get physical, people who, you get a video of them, but it's like, find this person. And then the internet finds that person. Them. And this happened in this case. So it's a guy named Ryan Caldwell, who's a business analyst at a consulting firm named BCT Partners. BCT has already released a statement.
I wonder if he's the C. Do you think he's the C in BCT?
I don't know if he's that high up. But in the video, like, he is calling her a see you next Tuesday, and again and again and again. Like, it is verbal harassment.
Well, here's what happened, because it's you said she was taking the high road. She was facing the field. The Packers got to the 1 yard line. She just did a little dance. She wasn't even screaming anything. She just did a little dance. And he took it upon himself to start criticizing her because the Packers hadn't scored, so she shouldn't be dancing, and you don't know, blah, blah, blah. And then he used that's the atomic bomb of all insults to women. That's the word you do not use. Thankfully, her fiance jumped to her defense.
And then the entire internet did too.
Yes, and she calmed her fiance down, and he said, "Don't call. You don't need to call it." And then he doubled down. This Caldwell guy, doubled down a couple times. Just horrible vitriol.
So we're not going to play the audio because the audio is not great and because it's a lot of bleeps anyways. But if you would like to see the video, text Philly, so PHILLY, to the Citing Unlimited WTMJ talk and text line 855-616-1620, and we'll send you a place where you can see the video. And I feel like this brings up, one, it was fascinating on the heels of our conversations with Jay.
Right.
Who, kind of tongue-in-cheek, but also was like, I'm not wearing my Packers stuff proudly around Philly.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because we talk about cancel culture. Oh, you can't. But it's but then it seemed like everyone was pretty much on the side, no matter what, woke, not woke, cancel culture, not cancel culture. Everyone, even including Philly fans who were pretty embarrassed by this.
Yes.
Were like, this is not representative of who we are.
And this guy was... Well, he was all decked out in his Eagles gear, so he is a...
And he's deleted all of his social media.
Well, good. So this has come up numerous times before in different instances. Does this guy deserve... I mean, he deserves to be outed, and he deserves to be shamed because his
does he deserve to lose his job?
That's the thing. Does that moment... Does the worst moment in your life, and I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt that is the worst moment of his life. I don't really believe it is.
That's what I feel like.
But let's just say, if you're that free to throw that word out numerous times at a football game,
unprovoked.
Yeah, you've probably called somebody at the grocery store.
It came out pretty easily. That was a pretty casual C-bomb you dropped there.
Yeah, when you use that one, it's not the first time. And so, but does he deserve to lose his entire life? And I know the knee-jerk reaction from a lot of people is yes, he deserves his entire life. He needs to be taken down to the studs.
If it's because I'm hesitant to say yes, right? Like
right.
I don't, because I think you're right. I don't think it's probably a singular moment in his life that he has acted inappropriately like that.
No.
But what is like the public shaming across the internet enough?
Yes, I think so, because it's like in Game of Thrones. Did you ever watch Game of Thrones?
Of course.
All right, shame, and she's walking down the street. This guy has had to go through the same gauntlet, and he should continue having to go. Like everywhere he goes in town, people should go, you're that jerk you're the jerk.
Here's a question: if he doesn't lose his job, should he be banned from going to Philly games? Like, what if they banned him from going? Because that happens sometimes, right? Like, if you touch a player,
well, it just happened to the two guys in New York who reached over the wall and pulled
dig the ball out of his hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Dodgers player.
Yeah. So they have the Yankees didn't do anything to him, but MLB has now banned them for life or for the foreseeable future from all places. So if the Eagles could send a message not just to him but to their fans that this will not be tolerated, and they could ban him from next season. They could ban him anyway. If he's a season ticket holder, they could take away his season tickets.
Yeah,
that's what the Eagles could do to one.
Is that a more appropriate punishment?
That is a more appropriate punishment.
Yeah, I agree.
Plus, it shows. Listen, it shows female fans, even if they're female Eagles fans, that this is a place where you can come. And yeah, there's going to be some jawing back and forth, but it's not this.
Because I remember going at Candlestick. It was the last season Candlestick was still open, and the Packers played the 49ers, and I obviously wore my Packers stuff. And we lost that game, like as we normally do against the 49ers. But that's a different story. And we lost the game. It was incredibly hot. I got heat stroke, so I already was leaving the game feeling terrible. We lost. I physically was ill, and I just remember getting verbally harassed by Niners fans. And it was like, you won. Like, leave me alone. I'm not taunting you. It's not like we won and now I'm trying to, like, sneak out the back before I get to this. It's like, take the W. Like, leave me alone. And so sometimes some people are a little too passionate about their sports teams.
They forget that the other team isn't going to come in and take over their city if they win. There's not going to be an invasion. We're saving that for Greenland and Panama. We don't have time to be invading San Francisco because they won a football game. All right, let's do this, and there's more. It's Spanning the State.
When we're out in your town, come say hi to us as we broadcast live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
Anytime you hear us when we're out on the road, you can find us live from our brand new mobile studio.
Whether it be Summerfest, EAA, Opening Day, Air and Water Show,
Wherever we may be, you can see us on the radio, live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
we are Wisconsin's radio station.
Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
WTMJ.
Want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with Dayquil VapoCool. It's Dayquil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is Dayquil VapoCool.
Dayquil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Morning, Paula.
Morning, Ron.
Another day in Adminville, am I right?
What are you working on? Oh!
You okay?
Your tabs. You have so many open.
Yeah, gotta order lunch for the big client meeting. With great responsibility comes tabs.
I can help. Close all those tabs and open just one, easycater.com. Online ordering from local restaurants, plus tools to save time, stay on budget, track expenses.
One tab to rule them all.
EasyCater, the smarter way to order food for work. Order now at easycater.com.
So how do you underpromise and still get the job? We believe in our hearts we're going to do great work for you. We're just really careful about making unrealistic promises. At Semper Fi, we refuse to set the bar higher than we can jump. But be assured, that's the goal. To do all we can to jump as high as possible to try to exceed your expectations. We're looking to break records. That's how you win over customers, get really great referrals, and build a great business. When you're making a decision to hire an exterior remodeling company, character, integrity, and the feeling that the people you're about to hire are truly eager to show you how good they are should stand at the top of your list. This is Brad Youngluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
All right, we got an update. Thanks to the Sunny Unlimited WTMJ Talk and Text line, we have been informed that he has been banned as of this morning already from future Eagles games. See, that is appropriate.
That's appropriate.
That really it probably hits him where it hurts. I mean, not that losing your job entirely wouldn't also hurt, but if he's that big of a Philly fan, that feels like an appropriate punishment.
And to lose your job not only punishes him, it punishes his family. It this is good. And I don't know if a guy like this can feel shame, but he's got to face all these people now who have seen his face and heard his stupidity.
Yeah, just be nice to people.
It's a thing in New Orleans that I love. There's a sign everywhere: "Be nice or leave."
I love that about New Orleans.
Be nice or leave.
All right, ABC News and local headlines are next.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. While erratic winds kip up again in Southern California, lawmakers are debating federal aid for residents and business owners who have lost everything. House Speaker Mike Johnson says wildfire victims deserve federal help, but earlier this week also signaled there could be conditions set for aid. House Democratic Caucus Vice Chair Ted Lieu says his state is like any other devastated by a natural disaster.
I want you to think about a hurricane with fire in it. And that's what a number of these communities experience. And these winds can blow these burning embers for miles and miles and miles that then set structures on fire.
Senate lawmakers held the first confirmation hearing today. Defense Secretary nominee Pete Hegseth denying sexual assault allegations and says he's qualified to lead the military. More hearings tomorrow. Secretary of State nominee Marco Rubio among those who will be questioned. And hopes are running high that Israel and Hamas can finalize a Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal. This is ABC News.
I'm John Mercure. Outdoor Living Unlimited News Time is 2:31. Sheboygan County emergency lines are down this afternoon. They are down. You might remember yesterday, Columbia, Adams, Marquette, Iowa, Juneau, and Richland counties in central Wisconsin had issues. Sheboygan County down today. The best advice if you need emergency service, check your agency's social media page. on how you can get in touch with them. The State Assembly today is considering a proposal to add the state's voter ID law to the state constitution, requiring voters to show ID before casting a ballot. Republicans want to add the measure in order to prevent Democrats from changing the law in the future. If the proposed amendment passes the Assembly today, as expected, it will go before voters in the April election. And Cedarburg Piggly Wiggly shoppers should check their bank accounts. Police found a credit card skimmer on the card reader at one of Olson's Piggly Wiggly's registers on Washington Avenue. It was added on January 8th, about 5:30. Police are looking for 2 men involved. You can see their photos on our website, WTMJ.com. Let's check those markets. Right now, the Dow is up 91 points. The NASDAQ is down 110. The S&P is off 11 points. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. All right, traffic. Let's look at those roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. One little delay, 94 from downtown to the zoo, going to take you 2 extra minutes. The WTMJ 5-day forecast. Tonight, clear, cold, a low of 5 degrees, wind chill down to 10 below. Tomorrow, sunny, a high of 24. Thursday, sunny, warmer, a high of 36. Friday, even more mild, partly cloudy, a high of 43. And on Saturday, mostly cloudy, a high of 32 degrees. Right now in Madison, sunny skies and 11 degrees. In Green Bay, lots of sunshine and 18. In Milwaukee, sunny skies and 16 degrees. I'm John Mercure, Outdoor Living Unlimited News Time, 2:33.
Healthy joints, healthy lifestyle. Vince Vitrano for Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Arthritis, injuries, wear and tear, common joint issues that keep you from doing what you love. At OAW, a visit to the doctor doesn't always mean surgery. Everyone is different. Surgeons, nurses, physical therapists work together to come up with a plan for you. Maybe it's PT, medication, injection, and if you do need surgery like I did, you know you're in the best of hands. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference. Book an appointment online at orthowisconsin.com.
Our favorite reason to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler? Free service for life with no fine print. That's right. When you buy your engagement ring or any piece of jewelry at Diamonds Direct, you will never have to pay a dime in the future for sizing, cleaning, or routine maintenance. At Diamonds Direct, there's no gotcha clause, no fine print, no looking for ways to void the warranty. Diamonds Direct, the jeweler you can trust with a no questions asked 100% free lifetime warranty with no strings attached. Come see us to learn more.
Reason number 52 to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler. Only Diamonds Direct gives you a 110% diamond upgrade guarantee. Diamonds Direct will give you 110% of your original purchase price toward the new stone. That's 10% more than you paid the first time. Guaranteed appreciation. Who else does this? There's no fine print and no minimum purchase requirement. It's 10% more, period. Buy with confidence. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
A cancer diagnosis shouldn't mean we can't make plans. It shouldn't mean living without joy or optimism. Cancer shouldn't be calling the shots. At the Fredert and the Medical College of Wisconsin Cancer Network, we're pushing to put cancer in its place by pulling together teams of leading specialists and researchers who work tirelessly for breakthroughs, who are developing innovative ways to treat every cancer, to treat your cancer. And by providing the largest cancer clinical trials treatment program in Wisconsin. So there are more treatment options and more reasons to be hopeful. So let's keep innovating. Let's keep discovering. Let's push to make every cancer diagnosis a story of survivorship and bring back the lightness of life that cancer takes away. To learn more about breakthrough cancer care, visit fredert.com/cancer.
Welcome back to Spanning the State. I'm Kristin Brey.
And I'm Brian Noonan. We talk a lot about mental health on this show. And since the 90s, mental health researchers have known that having traumatic experiences during childhood can affect a person's mental and physical health as they grow up. University of Wisconsin-Madison researchers recently made what they call surprising discoveries about how childhood trauma affects mental health in adolescents. Their findings come in part from an abundance of national data, using data from the first 4 years of a study being conducted by the National Institutes of Health. Psychiatric researchers at UW-Madison found evidence to suggest that the type of trauma a child experiences could be more impactful than the sheer amount of trauma that they encounter. Justin Russell is a research assistant professor of psychiatry. He and his colleagues at the UW School of Medicine and Public Health have been conducting the research. He joins us now. Excuse me, Professor Russell, thanks for being here.
Thank you. Great to be here.
So I mentioned that you used the first 4 years of a national study. Can you tell us what that study is about?
Sure. Your listeners may or may not know that we're right in the middle of the largest study of child development in American history, the Adolescent Brain and Cognitive Development Study. It's a national study of brain and behavior development in 12,000 kids. Studied from all across the country, and we're collecting all sorts of data from them about their thoughts, feelings, behaviors, as well as trying to look at their brain development and how those two things are connected.
So then, what age range are we talking about when we're talking about the kids that are being studied?
Sure. So the long-term study is going to go from ages 9 to 10 up through the late teens, early 20s. However, for this study, we looked at kids who were 9 to 10 through about 13 or 14. So right in that kind of middle childhood or late childhood to early adolescence period, that transition we know is so tough for kids.
Okay.
So you took the data that you had found in the first 4 years, and what were you attempting to do? What was the goal of your work at UW-Madison?
Sure. Well, as you mentioned, one of the ways that we've understood trauma and its effects on kids for a long time is this idea that it's not what happens to you, but how much happens to you. This kind of that the total sum of all your burdens and all your experiences really matters more than any one individual experience. And we kind of wanted to challenge that idea by looking at whether or not it really did matter, whether or not different types of experiences might cause kids to show different mental health problems. Initially, we thought that, bad things happening to kids, trauma tends to have bad outcomes.
Sure.
We thought that different types of trauma would just kind of predict different levels of increase in mental illness. But we assumed everything would be bad, and that's really not what we found.
So what did you find? Because you said it was somewhat surprising. So what was surprising about it?
Oh, it was surprising. We found we were able to kind of distill the data down into 8 different types of trauma or adverse childhood experiences. And while we expected all of them to, variably predict worsening mental health outcomes in these kids, some of them did not. We actually found that there were a couple different types of trauma experience. For example, exposure to community threat or violence that actually predicted some decrease compared to kids who experienced less of that in mental health problems as the kids got older. That's really unusual. As a trauma researcher, that was pretty shocking to me.
So say it again. So basically, exposure to violence actually had some inverse correlation with long-term mental health?
Yeah, to be clear, we were able to kind of find 8 different types of common trauma or adverse experiences, kind of groups of experiences or circumstances that hang together, that are more likely to co-occur.
Can you tell us those before you?
Sure.
Can you tell us what those are, please?
Oh, I'd be happy to. So we broke them. We identified community threat, kind of the danger and violence in your community, peer aggression. So we think of bullying. Caregiver maladjustment, so really any kind of caregiver or parent problem that's going to interfere with the caregiving relationship, having a mental health problem, an addiction, being unable to hold down a job, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Chronic pain or medical problems, discrimination, family conflict, so not just, between parents, but, total within the home, poverty, and then exposure to interpersonal violence.
Okay.
And so how did you figure it out that this threat to community did not have the negative effect that I think everybody listening, myself included, would go, well, that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And so what we did was we kind of threw all these things into the pot, all these different types of experiences, and we, wanted to look at how, accounting for one another altogether, they were related to kids' risk for different types of psychiatric problems across the transition into early adolescence. We kind of looked at 2 different groups, these internalizing problems that tend to be about, anxiety and depression and things that are inner problems versus externalizing problems that tend to be about more conflict with the world, like ADHD or aggression, things like that. And for example, with community threat, living in a dangerous environment or a high crime neighborhood or something like that, it was really predictive of a decline as kids got older in these internalizing, more anxious or depressed kind of symptoms, which was pretty surprising.
That is really surprising. And so how do you think this is manifesting? Because I just saw another headline this morning as far as it's been 10 years since there's been resources dedicated in Wisconsin to child mental health, like children's mental health, and it's not any better. And so what do you feel like from this study as far as external things that are happening to kids and how that's translating to our mental health issues with young people right now? And what do you take from that as far as what we can prevent and what is kind of just the nature of brain chemistry?
Well, I think that's a great question. I think that what we're seeing here is the importance of considering an individual's experience rather than this just bulk how many bad things have happened to you, but really what happened to you. Because it seems like we don't want to take away from this that, well, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, that, some things just toughen you up. We don't think that's the case. We think that what's happening is that different traumas or different types of adversity can maybe actually shape or change how you show mental illness or even push you towards one form of mental illness instead of another. We still have, like most scientific studies, we have a lot more questions than answers at this point. I think that in the context of mental health today and what we can really kind of draw from this to help help our community, well, maybe if there's certain types of trauma or certain types of adversity that have worse outcomes than others, that could be a way we can form policy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Economic dollars. If I can say to you, hey, family conflict, conflict in the home seems really strongly predictive of mental health problems or in kids, then policymakers can devote more preventative dollars to that and get a bigger bang for their buck.
Interesting.
Now, I have two things are running through my head. First, you said looking at an individual rather than a group of kids, and pediatricians who treat or try to treat children with mental health issues, they all use the same form, right? And that was kind of what you and your research colleagues were trying to get past, the ACE form?
Mm-hmm. Yes, the Adverse Childhood Experience Screener. Now, that screener came out in '96. There's various versions of it going around. But it was a major public health advance when it came out because it really kind of taught or spread the message among the general public and even across medicine that kids who experience, trauma or adversity early in life are more likely to have a whole host of mental and physical health problems. Unfortunately, the problem with that screener is that your score on it, and it usually is a sum of maybe 10 to 17 different bad experiences or events that you've had happen to you in your life. Your score doesn't really tell us anything about what kind of problems you're going to experience, only that you're going to have a greater risk for mental and physical problems. Okay. So as a screening instrument, it's really helpful to understand how many kids are experiencing what trauma load or what, how bad things are across a population. But individually for the kid, it's not very predictive.
Wow.
This is maybe a semantics question, but I feel like in the last couple of years, the word trauma has potentially been overused and in certain circles as far as it's calling everything trauma. And so when you guys use it in an academic setting, like, what is the actual qualification to be considered trauma?
So I think a trauma is really in scientific settings, and I think that this is a good discussion for society to be having about what it is and what it isn't. We're usually talking about something that involves a significant threat to your well-being or safety. Okay. It could be a violation of your bodily integrity or security, and that doesn't mean it happens just to you. You could witness it. You could also even hear about it happening to somebody else. But we're generally talking about those kind of things that threaten your safety or threaten injury or harm or severe danger and things like that.
Got it.
Before we let you go, Professor, we're talking about childhood trauma and listening to your definition right there. we can't help thinking about the kids in California who are victims of these wildfires. And this is, I would imagine, this falls squarely under the umbrella of trauma. But it doesn't, as I listened to your 8 different categories, where would this kind of trauma fit? And does that have the same sort of potential outcome as some of the traumas that you outlined to us before?
Sure. I'm so glad you asked that question. We did identify those 8 different categories in the data that we had, but that's not a totally inclusive list. One of the things that we definitely didn't have any data on is exposure to things like natural disasters. So early in my career, I did a lot of research in New Orleans in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. Disaster trauma can be really different than most other forms of trauma. And I think that one of the things those kids are going to need the most is, of course, emotional support and time to grieve. You know, when those fires take away so much in terms of your possessions, your home, and also just kind of the normalcy of your life. And so I think it's going to take time. It's going to take support for those kids, and, you know, maybe a little bit of luck.
Yeah.
But we know that most kids, however, are truly resilient and will bounce back.
Well, it's fascinating and very surprising, some of the outcome. We appreciate your time today. Professor Justin Russell is a research assistant professor of psychiatry, and along with colleagues from the UW School of Medicine and Public Health, are working to try to figure out how we can keep our children's trauma from carrying over into adolescence. Professor, thanks for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Glad to be with you.
All right, let's do this. And then, oh my gosh, one of my pet projects, we've got to get to it after this on Spanning the State.
Get your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval to buy at accunet.com.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Kristin Brey, and if you're looking for a new dentist, you should check out Dr. James Michaels at Economwalk Dental Care. Dr. Michaels is committed to providing you with the highest level of care possible. He's prioritized patients' needs, no matter how sensitive, since he began practicing in 1985. If you're due for a dental visit, Economwalk Dental has a $89 new patient special, so you can get the care you need at an affordable price. In addition to an exam, you'll receive a gentle professional cleaning that will leave your mouth feeling smooth and rejuvenated. We all have to go to the dentist, so do not put it off any longer. Check out Economwalk Dental Care at drmichaelsdentalcare.com or give them a call at 262-567-7224. Start 2025 on a good note by feeling confident about your smile and go see my new dentist, Dr. James Michaels at Economwalk Dental Care.
It's here on consignment from over 10,000 nationwide partners. From very high-end, distinctive furniture, unique antiques and original art, to tasteful home decor that can fit almost any budget. Premium home decor priced right at 25 to 40% off retail prices. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
Smart interior designers know that what they'll see here is going to be almost impossible to find anywhere else, especially at our consignment prices. Premium home decor that's gently loved and close to new. And what we carry can raise the wow factor of anyone's home decor. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
I believe it's time for me to fly.
right, well, before we get out of here, you have an update for us, Brian.
My pet cause for Wisconsin is getting this Buc-ee's open in DeForest. It's been back and forth. You know, I am claiming that big convenience stores are trying to keep Buc-ee's out of Wisconsin. It's been holding. You know, in October, the DeForest Village Administrator, Bill Chang, said they were going to wait till after the election to make any decisions because, long story short, Buc-ee's needs some infrastructure to open, as they do in most places they open. And they have a pretty much universal agreement with the towns that they've opened in that Buc-ee's pays 47% of the cost to put in the new interchange, and then the city and the state pony up the rest. Well, they've been dragging their feet. But now DeForest, since there's been an election, they're going to collaborate with state and local politicians to try to secure the $7 million in funding that Buc-ee's needs to get the interchange.
So what needs to actually be updated? Like what?
They need to put in a whole new interchange because the roads at this surrounding this location are not big enough to handle the volume of trucks and cars that are going to be coming in. And if you remember, before the election, Quick Trip in DeForest got all their money for a new distribution center.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes, I remember that too.
This was where this conspiracy theory started.
That is exactly where it started. So anyway, because the facility is 74,000 square feet. They're supposed to get between 4,000 and 8,000 vehicles every day. So the village is going to work with newly elected State Senator Sarah Kieski, State Rep Maureen McCarville, and other officials to propose state legislation that would help DeForest with the cost. I implore our newly elected state representatives to get on the Buc-ee's bandwagon.
I've said it once, and I'll say it again. I want this to open just to see how often you're going to drive to DeForest just to go to a Buc-ee's.
I may start going just for fun. It's a nice weekend getaway. Who doesn't want to spend the weekend in DeForest eating beef jerky and sitting in clean restrooms, just enjoying themselves?
I'm sure your wife can't wait.
Listen, the whole Noonan family is Buc-ee's supporters. We are not down. All right, are we done?
We're done.
We're done.
We got to pass it off to Wisconsin's Afternoon News.
Then let's do that.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow.
See ya.
The Upswing is your place for commerce and community.